Hello everybody and welcome to Manny's Makings. Today we're going to make the chain that's going to go with this pendant. Remember the pendant I showed you that in the last video? So this chain goes with it. So I'm going to show you how to make the chain. We're using a clasp that's a ball and socket clasp. We're going to put that on. I'm going to show you how to do this stitch. And so you're going to need some things, 11 seed beads, same ones you used in the previous project if you have them. In this case I'm using 3 different colors so that it'll match either side of this pendant. So if you have this hanging on this way, it picks up the white, and if you have it hanging this way, this picks up the center beam there as well, and it gives it a contrast. And this can be worn by itself or it can be worn with the pendant, and it's a 16-inch chain. So seed beads, you're going to need, you're going to have to put thread on twice, and you're going to use a wingspan of Fireline 8 pound and a 10 beading needle size 10. So get your seed beads ready, get your beading needle and your thread on the needle, and we'll get started. Okay, so I have the 3 types of seed beads out, and we are going to get started. So let me just get this all perfect for you. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold on to the tail, because I'm gonna be going back up through the same beads. They're actually not gonna fall off, so I just need to have enough tail for me to put on my clasp at the end. So leave yourself a good 6-8 inches. I'm going to leave a little less than that because I'm just showing you how to do the stitch. So I'm going to put 4 of the core colored beads. So whatever you decide you want the core to be, that's your choice. Core colored beads. And some people use a size up for the core because they feel it makes it easier. I never have a problem getting enough passes through of thread, but if you're concerned or you're struggling with the thread that you're using, you know, definitely don't hesitate to go, you know, you could go an 8/0 with the core beads if you wanted to. So I'm going to put 4 of those on, and I'm going to put 3 of the outside color that I want. And so so far I've got 7 beads on my needle. So I'm going to just pull them all down till I get them to my fingers. I'm just trying to hold on to them so they're not sliding around. Now I need to come back up. So my thread width that's on my needle is on this side. And I'm going to come back up where my tail is, just like circling around. And I'm going to come back up the 4 beads on the in the core. We're going to call the core beads. So this is what I end up having. I have 4 beads and I have 3 beads. And I'm going to circle around one more time. So I'm going to go back down those 3 beads and pull, and I'm going to come back up those 4 core beads again, because this is the start. I'm just grabbing the tail here and pulling. So I end up having this sturdy little piece that's got a double. It's not going to slide on the, I don't have to use the tail, just a handle now at this point. Okay, so this is how the spiral works. Every time you add more beads, you're going to add 1 core bead, and I'm going to add 3 of my other beads. So 1, I'm just moving my hand out of the way, and in this case I started mine with, it's got 1 core bead right here, and then one of the darker ones, and the cream colored one and the darker one. Okay, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip this so my outside beads, not the core beads, are on the out, you know, away from me. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it up through the last 3 core beads. So I'm going to ignore that first core bead that's there. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up through those core beads, and this is what's going to happen. And then I'm going to take my needle and put it through the 1 core bead here, just the 1, and I'm going to pull up. So I end up having an added core bead. So now I have 5 core beads. Now I have 2 little spirals. Those 2 little spirals need to go beside each other. So I'm going to push this one beside the other one so they're both on the same side. So I'm going to just take it and push it over so they're like this. And see how they sort of look like they're stepping up from each other? Okay, so I'm going to hold on to those, and I'm going to get some more beads. So I need one more core bead, and I'm going to get 3. So I got 1 core bead and 3 of my other beads, and I'm going to go up the last 3 beads in this core, and I'm going to pull, and I'm going to come back through the 1 core bead that's at the very top of the 4 that I just added. So then you have the 3rd one added. So I'm going to grab a hold of the thread. So this is what you have. You have your beads sort of laying around. Just tighten everything up. There we go. So I just keep pushing them over. So every time you add new beads, I just push them to the left. And then I just hold so I can see my core so I can go through it with the needle again. So again, we're going to do this another time. So a core bead, and this time I'm going to put a white one in it again. And so I have my beads right here. So I'm going to go through the last 3 beads of my core beads, and I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to come back down through just the last core bead that I just added. And then I'm going to pull straight up so that they sit beside each other, and I'm going to push this against the other ones. And see how they're starting to spiral around? And this is what I continue to do. I just continue to do this, and I can do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. So I'll tell you what the pattern is, okay? So both sides ended up the same. So when you look at this, you can see I started with there's my first set of beads right here. And then I have the ones with the white, the 3, then the 3 with the white, then and 3 with the white. So I alternated between just using the 3 plain and then the 2 and the 1 with the white. I did that 8 times. So I ended up with 8 little dots. So if you count, it's 1, 2, I'm going to turn this around, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I ended up with 8 white beads. So that's, basically 15 rounds, 15 times I put my needle through, and it got me this long, which is like an inch. Okay. And then I continued with just the dark beads for 24 core beads worth. So every time I picked up a core bead, I counted it as 1 core bead, and then I put 3 of these on. 1 core bead and 3 of these on. So what you can actually do is take your core beads and just count out 24. And so you just take your core beads and count out 24 of them so that you have 24 in a little pile, and then you can use that core bead and then put 3 of these, and then another core bead and 3 of these until this little pile is gone. And that's what I did. So I didn't have to think about it. I could just count them once, and then I was good, right? And then when I did the ones with the white ones, I counted out 15 because they start with a white one and end with a white one, and then so I counted a little pile of 15. That's not 15, but you get my point. So that I knew, and I only counted out 1 pile at a time of the seed beads that I was going to use. And these ones I don't have to worry about. The white ones I didn't have to worry about. It's just my core beads, because I have to do 15, wraps around. So I have to do 15 times, going through this piece here. So, this would count as 1. So I put a core bead on, and in this case, I'm ready for just a plain one. And how so if you have to sit it down, is you can literally, if you put them all beside each other, the next one, you can see this was the last, if you spin them around and they're all beside each other, you can see that this was the last one I put on. So I'm going to bring it around. So again, my core beads are sticking up, and I'm going to go through the last 3. And sometimes you have to, fiddle to get it through the last one. Make sure this is out of the way so I'm not making a knot up top. And I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to come back through the core bead. So that's 1. So I would do that, that's how I count it. So that's when I say I separate out the core beads. Each time you add 1 core bead. So that means you've done enough rounds. Okay, so you continue to do that. I'm going to come back and show you how to add more thread when I need to add more thread. and then we'll have the clasp added, and then we'll have a finished product. So be back soon. Okay, so I'm back to show you how to change the thread. So I have a little bit left. I want to give myself enough to weave back in a little bit, and I'm partway through, so I'm going to need to add some more thread. So this is the way that I like to do it. Now these 3 beads here are sacred because they only fit so many passes of thread, so I don't want to go down those 3 beads. So I'm going to go down the outside here. I'm going to pull that there. And now I can go back to the center, so I can see where they come out, and it's right here. Okay, so I can find where the thread comes out, right here. And I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go back in just a couple, whatever it'll fit through easily. There we go. Because I'm not going to be making another pass of thread through that, so that'll hold that in place. Try not to pull too hard because you want to make sure that everything still sits, so when you put the thread back up here, you can straighten that bead out. So now I just take a look and see where I'm at. What am I close to? I'm close to these beads here on the outside. So this is a good place where you can knot off. On the bottom of those 3 beads, the thread goes back into the core, so you can take it and just give it a quick half hitch. And then you can take it down the core beads a couple more beads. From there, here's 1, 2, and then again, you can see what's close to it. Take it down or up a couple of beads, just taking it down, doesn't really matter, and tie it off. And to start the new one, I do the same thing. I bring it up through a couple of beads. I tie a knot here, and then I bring it through the beads, come through a couple more of the core beads, tie a knot on the edge of the 3 beads, take the 3 beads, and then take it up. The last 3 beads is the final thing I do when I add the new one, so that you have the new thread and you're ready to go. So I'm going to continue on, and I'll be back when I've got it all done. Okay, so we're all done, and now I have a ball and socket clasp. It's basically you push the ball out from the socket, so you have the 2 pieces, and I really like this clasp for, this is a really light necklace. It doesn't weigh a ton, and even with the other piece on it, it's youthful, and this is for a young girl, so it's easy to put on. So now we need to put the clasp on. So I'm just going to take 1 bead, go through the hole, pick up another bead, and I have very little thread left. I'm trying to do it without adding more thread. And I need to come around. So I'm just going to take this last one here. Sorry, this last one here. And if I can get my needle to go in there, it's being persnickety, it'll go. There we go. So I'm just going to come through that. So I've made myself a little circle now, so I can come around again. So let me just pull my needle down a little bit on the thread, so I can come around again. So I'm going to reinforce this 3 times, and then I'm going to work away my needle. And then I'm going to thread the other end and do the same thing. And that one went through the bead that time. There we go. Back through here again. There we go. So this is adding it on quite easily, and as you can see, it looks just fine. And then when I'm done, I'll bring it back down and into the core to settle everything down so that it looks like it's an extension from the core. So let me just go around one more time. I know some of you actually like to see all the little steps. I've gotten lots of comments about that you're glad that I show all the little steps. So there we go. I'm going around the last time, coming through that other one the last time, and I have very little thread left, so I'm trying to hold on to the thread because I have to get it down and into here. I'm going to take it down into the core. So it's back into the core. There we go. So everything's nice and tight. And I'm going to probably have to stick my needle in and then thread it to be able to tie it off. But I'm going to tie a knot here. I'm going to go down a couple more and tie a knot there. And this end will be done. I'm going to do the same to the other end. I have 16 inches of, you can see this is the whole chain. 16 inches of chain. And in this one I did some white beads, as I said I was going to do, to match the one pendant, so it has white on the one side and on the other. And this could be worn as a necklace just the way it is. It's going to sit at the collarbone. It's quite high up, but it's a perfect length for a young lady. And then because I've put this clasp on, she can then also take off the pendant part and just wear this the way it is, or with a pair of jeans or a white linen shirt, it would look beautiful, or she can put the pendant on and wear it that way. So either way will work. Okay, so I'll be back with a finished product to show you. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, it's finished. There's the clasp is on and it's here, and these little white sections sort of match up, which is awesome. You know, I knew sort of the distance I needed to go with the pattern repeat, so yeah, and then so this ends up sort of resting in the middle. So if you have the blue side up, this is what it looks like, and you can see this blue here matches the blue here, and so it just adds some depth and contrast to it. And if you turn it over, it picks up the white. It's amazing how the little white, few seed beads of white that are in the chain really pop, and pops the blue in the center. So I think this is awesome. So this is an easy spiral chain. It's a sort of a real beginner chain. It's easy to do. It's old. It's been around for like thousands of years, believe it or not. So yeah, so have fun with this and create your own chains. As I said, this could be worn just the way that it is, or it could be worn with a pendant, and I'm very, very happy. So take care and keep on making for Manny's Makings, and see you soon.